Alright, so part two, I've already begun sort of part of the process of getting this thing installed. As you can see, I have the motherboard securely screwed on in there. There are 9 screws. The motherboard didn't come with screws, they come with the case, so if you ever do what I'm doing, swapping them out with an existing case, make sure you don't throw away the screws when you take out the old motherboard. So I got the 9 screws in there, securely fastened. There's one of them. There. Got it in there. First challenge was getting the first screw in because the panel that I had to install that matches up with the I/O ports on the motherboard, that has a little bit of padding on the back of it that when you put the motherboard in, it keeps it pushed that way a little bit. So you have to brace it carefully. Be careful, not to put anything, touch anything important, put weight on anything important, and break something. Very sensitive equipment, expensive equipment. You make sure you have a little bit of a motion this way, pressure, so that the screws line up and they put them in. So that was that. And I also put in the processor. That was fun. It just kind of popped right in there. And it's very important to note that it only has one way that it goes in, but you can tell because there's little dots that are on the bottom of the or on the top of the motherboard here that line up with spaces in the pins in the processor. So it is going to gently drop down in there, put the bar down to fasten it in place, and you're good to go. As you can see, I've got the space here I need to put in my memory. I also need to put down on top of this the cooler. For now I'm going to be using the stock cooler that came with it, but at some point in the future I may put something a little bit better on there for cooling it, especially if I'm going to overclock it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do a few steps here and then we'll continue. So as you can see, I got the heat sink on there, the cooler. Wasn't too bad. It came with thermal paste on it. I decided to go ahead and use that thermal paste since it was applied so nicely. And then if I have any temperature problems, I'll go ahead and use the thermal paste that I purchased. I'm also going to go ahead and install the memory now. Can't hold this and do it at the same time, so I'm not going to show the actual installation process, but I did want to show you this is what the memory looks like. It's all very, very blue, very pretty. I like it. It's got the nice little cooling mechanism on top of it here, help the heat dissipate. Alright, we're going to go ahead and install this. Alright, and this is some hours later. I took a break in the process of installing everything. As you can see, I've got my memory in there. It's nice and color coordinated with the colors that are part of the motherboard. You can hardly tell that they're a separate piece. Got a bunch of my cabling run here. Got cabling for power and data run to my drives. I have one DVD drive though that's got the old IDE connection that this motherboard does not support. So unless I can find an adapter, I'll probably just end up not using that drive. I never really needed to anyway. Barely need one. So the top drive and the hard drive are going to be working there. Got my audio cables hooked up, got my power reset and hard drive indicator light connections there. And then I've got my USB connections and a little USB adapter for 2 more ports in the back connected, USB for the top, and then also my sound for the front panel sound connection there. So the only thing left here as far as assembly is getting the graphics card in there and putting the cover back on, and then getting it all set up, boot up with the software. So almost done. Alright, and the physical connections are done. Got the graphics card in there. Was surprised to see the graphics card required a hookup of 4 power cables. So I had to rearrange things a little bit, but I was able to get it to not quite too terrible as far as the cabling goes. Did what it could there. But yeah, she is ready to go. Just going to go ahead and get her hooked up to my monitors and peripherals and get her some power to her and start installing software. I'll go ahead and post benchmarks once I get it up and running. Thanks for watching this video.